Hey everybody, today we are going to talk about Katabasis by R.F. Kuang. Katabasis releases on August 26th. I just finished this book last night. I've been gathering my thoughts while I sleep, and I'm ready to talk about it. I just saw an interview with R.F. Kuang that she's doing for this book tour. So originally she called this book Katabasis. Then she learned that in Greek it's actually Katabasis is how you're supposed to pronounce it. She doesn't care. If you call it Katabasis, she doesn't really mind. But I'm going to try to remember to always call it Katabasis in this review. If I say Katabasis, don't yell at me. Okay, basic plot. Alice is a doctorate student at Cambridge University. She is a doctorate student in magic. I think specifically analytical magic. This program that she's in at Cambridge is incredibly intense, and she's gone to study under a professor named Jacob Grimes. Within the world of magic, he is a legend. To be one of his graduate students basically gets you into any academia job you want in life. Pretty much any job anywhere. Alice wants to be in the top echelon of magic wielders, so she goes to study with him at Cambridge. Magic in this world is treated much more just like math equations. Like if you can picture somebody who's at like MIT right now to be a mathematician, like genius levels, like how their brain works, that's kind of just how magic works in this. So she's in this program with Jacob Grimes, who is notorious for being one of the most difficult people to work for. People tell her she shouldn't work for him and all this, but she's staying with it. But what happens is that she's about to argue her dissertation, and Jacob Grimes is killed in an accident in the lab. So Alice decides to go into hell to pull him back out, to argue her dissertation to him so that she doesn't feel like her time at Cambridge was wasted. And in this world, hell is a physical place that you can go. So if you've ever read Dante's Inferno, where he travels through the layers of hell, basically that's not a story, that is a true life account of Dante who went down and did these things. So basically these actual texts that we have in our world, that essentially in this book is true. These people did go to the underworld. Right before she goes to the underworld, another student at Cambridge named Peter finds her and says, "I'm coming with you," for the same reasons. He also was a Jacob Grimes student. He needs Grimes there so he can argue his dissertation, and off they go into hell. And that's just like the first couple chapters of the book. The entire rest of the book is them in hell. This book was difficult. I am a massive fan of R.F. Kuang. Now, I have not read her Poppy War series yet, which I'm going to. I know it's a very intense book, and I feel like I need to be in the right mood. To me, Babel is an absolutely incredible novel. I think she should have been nominated for a Pulitzer for Babel. And I think the only reason she wasn't is because it was fantasy. And I think they don't really take those kinds of books seriously. And I do think it's okay to compare Katabasis to Babel because both of them are academia-based books. You could almost feel these two books existing in the same world. But where Babel, to me, is a perfect novel, Katabasis kind of falls flat. When I read a lot of books by the same author, I usually grade each book within the author's bibliography. So is Katabasis better than most dark academia books I've read? Absolutely. Is this anywhere near as good as Babel? No, not even close. Now, I did go online after I finished it last night, and I read some of the 2 and 3 star reviews on Goodreads. I was just curious because I'm kind of on the fence as to whether or not I really enjoyed the book or I'm just kind of tricking myself into really enjoying the book. And I will say there is some reviews on there that were 2 and 3 stars that I felt were fully valid arguments about why this book is not good. So I'm going to go over a few of the arguments I saw and what I think about that. I saw someone on there say that a lot of people will say they are not smart enough for this book. And I've been saying that since I pretty much started it. They were saying that that's kind of bullshit, that a book should not be so bogged down with so many academia references to make you feel stupid. I don't know if I agree with that, but I understand the point. I actually felt pretty prepared going into this book before I read it. I have read Dante's Inferno twice. There's other books mentioned in there. I've read a lot of ancient Greek texts. So when I went in, I thought, okay, I'm prepared. Like I kind of understand the world. I've read these books. I get where we're at. But I felt like a moron. The problem is that this book has about this much plot and this much references to things that you would have to be deep in academia to understand. I have a bachelor's degree. I didn't get a master's or a doctorate or anything like that. I feel like 98% of the jokes in this book, you need to be in a doctorate program to understand. There's a lot of tongue-in-cheek jokes just about how those programs work that I didn't get. It's definitely like a bunch of philosophical and mathematical concepts sort of presented to you over and over and over again, and then she has to stop and explain what those concepts are, but they're not explained super well. In general, kind of understood the magic system, but not really, because the magic system is like deep entrenched in both real world mathematics and philosophy, and not just like generalized math and philosophy that most people could understand. I'm talking deep cut stuff where I guess there's some people who might be really into it, but for me, I found it a bit repetitive and boring. Ultimately, the storyline is not a lot of the book. And I understand this is an academia novel and she's definitely doing something different, but I don't think the book is super accessible to a more casual reader. And I would say I'm not a casual reader. I read a lot. I still love R.F. Kuang's writing. I think she's doing something that's so different from what else you see out there. But I do think this will be her lowest rated book she's written so far. I fully expect a lot of people to start this book and quit on this book. All the reasons I've heard about people scared to read Babel is what actually happens in this. And in terms of these super dense talking between the characters, that's not Babel. Babel, I think, is fantastic. It's weird because it's one of those books that, yes, I enjoyed reading it, but would I have read it as quickly as I did if I wasn't on sort of a time constraint? I wanted to read this book and get this review out before the book came out. I feel like this is a kind of book I might have only read a chapter every week of if it wasn't for the fact that I needed to get this done. Ultimately, I think you should give it a try. If you're not somebody who's into academia-based books, I don't think this is going to be the one for you. Is it an incredibly different magic system and just vibe of a fantasy book than we see? Yes. And for that, God bless you, R.F. Kuang, for doing something different. But do I think it's an entertaining story? Maybe not. I did give the book 4 stars, which maybe is a little high. At the end of the day, R.F. Kuang's brain just works in a different way than I think the vast majority of the world. I don't know where she came up with this idea. I'm continually impressed by just how different her books are from one another. And I think that's worth hyping alone, that this is an author that I think will go down in history as one of the greats. Maybe this will just not be one of her greatest novels. So I did give it 4 stars. It's out on August 26th. There's a whole bunch of special edition companies doing stuff for it. I think I have a Fairy Loot edition coming. I don't even know. And the first edition of this book is going to come, let me see it, is going to come with sprayed edges as well. That's just the normal first edition in the US. If you've read Katabasis, I really want to hear your thoughts. If you've never read R.F. Kuang and you're looking to where to start, I started with Babel and I'm obsessed with it. Most people start with the Poppy Wars trilogy, but I would not make this your first R.F. Kuang book. I feel like in the future, this will be more of an R.F. Kuang deep cut book. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the book, and we'll see you soon.